Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. This is Vinny Borelli, and this is Significant Sundays. So, I hope you all had a great weekend and a wonderful week. I want to first start out with thanking everybody at the Butler Italian Days, specifically Sal Ricchetti for having me host today. I met a lot of wonderful people, my wife and a good friend of mine, Keith, came, my son. We met some great people and three winners. I congratulate you. I can't remember your names, but congratulate you for winning my book. But I wanted to say that, a community that small wasn't quite as elaborate as the Bloomfield Little Italy Days, but the Butler Italian Days was really quite interesting that everyone came together as a community and just shared some love and enjoying the Italian music. And just again, wanted to thank everybody for whoever came, the people I met. Thank you for coming, saying hello. And let's just dive right into today. What Significant Sunday today is going to be about is really grace and the definition of it. And then I have three topics, if you can see behind me on my whiteboard, about the COVID and really how I turned it into something more significant and something more relevant to our everyday lives, if you will. The original meaning was really spiritual, God's favor or help. And in today's definition, it's really simple elegance or refinement of movement. But again, going on the spiritual side, it's really a spontaneous gift from God to people. Most of the time it's unexpected or undeserved. So think about that. We all ask for, our faith is our definite interest and also our focus on what is in the future. That's what our faith is really, what you want to do in the future, that you believe in that. But having grace is really receiving the gift. So a lot of people don't really understand that definition of it. So you really should dive into a little bit. But it's really interesting that, it's to be unexpected or undeserved. A lot of us really should wish for that grace. And again, you have to keep your faith spiritually, but ask God for that spontaneous gift, and stay close to it every day and live like that. But what I wanted to talk about at COVID today was funny that spiritually this came up, that we all are washing our hands of the disease, not to spread this devil, this evil that is surrounding us, this silent killer of some sorts to some people, unfortunately. But we're all washing our hands and trying to be really cautious of what that disease is doing. But have we thought about washing ourselves, like our hearts? Again, Significant Sundays is supposed to be more on the spiritual end, so I'm going to go there today a little bit with that. Have you thought about living with more purpose, with more significance, again, if you will, with washing your heart of the toxicity that's been surrounding us? And I have some of these notes up here that I'm really not going to go back to too often if you could see them, but even if you can, really they're redundant to what I'm going to say. So that's the first point. Why don't we try washing our hearts and living with more significance daily and spreading more love, live with more purpose? And then the second thing is we're wearing masks, right, to cover the spread again of contaminating anything, surfaces, people, and protecting ourselves from being also contaminated with the COVID virus. But are we watching that mask? Why don't we think about watching our tongues and what we say? A lot of people speak with malicious thoughts and malicious, really under motives, if you will, underlying motives that you don't think of, but you really should think of that. You try living this way, it'd be so much different to not live with, the toxicity that surrounds us, and wear that mask to protect ourselves from talking, evil thoughts and again, malicious thoughts. Let's try that. And then the third is the social distancing that we've all been now somewhat accustomed to, right, since the COVID has started. But why don't we try to distance ourselves socially, right, from the toxicity again, the poison, the polluters around us, the social media that's continually contaminating our thoughts. And again, going back to the book that I wrote, the chapter on setting the tempo for your day, and then also detaching yourselves from that stuff. Why don't we try to distance ourselves from the social garbage that is out there? So, and really live more significantly, live with some focus on grace instead of, grief. And so with that said, today's Significant Sunday was really all about that. But just, it's really something to ponder over and some thoughts to think about. Again, wash your hearts instead of your hands all the time, too. I'm not saying you shouldn't wash your hands. We all should. In fact, if we would have, none of this would be probably an issue in some places. But try washing your hearts and starting with a clean slate every day with clean thoughts, with more purpose, with more significance. And then the mask, again, instead of just thinking about every time you put that mask on now that it's somewhat required in most places, at least that I've been in, think about that mask when you put that on as covering, also protecting you from saying thoughts. So it's kind of a thought subconsciously that you can think about, where you're protecting yourselves from speaking malicious things and leaving that toxicity behind. And then again, remember social distancing, the last one. Distance yourself socially from that stuff and start living with more purpose, more deliberate and intentional days, instead of, focusing on the negative stuff. With bookings. So if you need personal coaching or some motivational, inspirational, or emceeing now that I've been being hired for, so please reach out to me. But God bless you guys and have a great week. But have a great, significant rest of your evening. And thank you. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Bye bye now.